And yung mga katongs, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Ayan, so kamusta kayong lahat? So it's been a while since my last entry. So maraming nangyari, maraming incident. So I decided na hindi muna mag-vlog. But now, dahil sa maraming nagme-message, especially for my Tong TV's tutorial, thesis tutorial, yun, balik tayo dito. And if you notice, nagtatagalog na ako because madaming comments and suggestions na Tagalogin ko daw kasi syempre, especially sa mga viewers na maintindihan, especially for students. So, okay. So, ang objective naman ng vlog natin today is the objective of this tutorial is for education and learning. So, if easier for you to understand in Tagalog, sige, Tagalogin natin. But, of course, there are some terminologies na hindi kaya o wala siyang Tagalog version. So, let me explain it both in English and in Tagalog. Okay, so again, thank you so much for still subscribing to my channel kahit wala akong bagong entry, siguro mga 1 month. Okay, 1 month akong walang entry. Ayan. And if notice ninyo, nakakap ako kasi hindi pa ako naliligo. Yes. Okay. So, vlog muna tayo bago maligo. So, kagigising ko lang din. So, for today, simultaneously, so makikita nyo sa PowerPoint yung discussion natin. So, my topic for today is the conceptual and theoretical framework. So, as promised, during my last entry, dun sa chapter 2, sa review of related literature, isang part nito is yung conceptual and theoretical framework. But, there are some universities that this part is included in their chapter 1 and yung iba pa nasa chapter 3, but mostly either chapter 1 or chapter 2. Okay, so sa introduction and dito sa chapter 2 for the traditional format. Okay, so I'm going to discuss to you the difference of these two frameworks. So kasi merong kailangan pala ng S dito. Conceptual and theoretical frameworks. So yan, so basic discussions lang tayo. So marami kasing nagtataka or nalilito what's the difference between the two. So now I hope I can differentiate what's the difference of these two. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, what is the purpose of this framework? So number one, it will gives you a clearly differentiation between your variables and concepts. So makikita nyo dito, ano ba yung kailangan ninyong malaman sa mga variables niyo, or ano-ano ba yung mga variables niyo. When say variables, ito yung mga important points or aspects ng thesis ninyo na kailangan ninyong either i-measure or i-test, and different concepts na nakapaloob sa inyong study. So yan yung sa framework. Kasi kung makikita nyo yung mga samples ng frameworks, puro box yan. Boxes and then circles or the even other diagrams. So makikita nyo nandun sa loob yung mga aspects or important points na gusto nyong i-measure or i-test. So yung researcher, pag merong framework, mas madali para sa kanya kung ano magiging flow ng kanyang study. Second, provides the researcher with a general approach. Because on this framework, makikita dito paano ite-test. Especially makikita dito yung methodology. Although it's in chapter 1 or chapter 2 and chapter 3 ang methodology, dito pa lang sa framework, kapag nag-defense kayo, makikita ng panel ninyo paano nyo tinest or paano nyo pinaandar in Tagalog yung inyong study. Kasi makikita dito yung research design, target population, nasa ng mouse ko, yan, research samples, data collection, and analysis. Okay? So, dito makikita at matutulungan yung researcher about the general approach. Third, guides the researcher in collection, interpretation, and explanation of the data. So, especially dahil nakita dito sa framework yung inyong flow, kung paano ninyo tinest or mineasure yung mga variables. Sa pangatlo nating importance, makikita dito paano nyo kinolect yung data, okay, during your data gathering. So, may mga araw-araw yan eh. So, araw-araw. So, later, makikita ninyo yung sample natin. So, ano yung difference ba talaga ng conceptual framework at saka ng theoretical framework. So number 1 for conceptual framework, ito yung researcher's idea on how the research problem will have to be explored. So, and while in theoretical framework, foundation of conceptual framework. Okay, the difference is, yung conceptual framework, ito na yung idea ng researcher na nanggaling doon sa iba't ibang theoretical framework. So, kung gagawin nating hierarchy, theoretical framework and then conceptual framework. So, most likely, sa conceptual framework, halo-halo na yan. Idea ng researcher at saka yung theoretical framework. So, there are some universities na nire-require na meron dapat conceptual at meron din framework. Meron naman na kailangan pumili. But, as a researcher, you need to be artistic or you should be the one who should know kung ano ang gagamitin ninyo. Kaya, as I mentioned sa mga previous vlogs ko, kung gagawa kayo ng research, kailangan kayong magbabasa muna kayo bago kayo gumawa ng framework. Okay? Kasi doon yung makikita yung mga variables at concepts na kailangan ninyo. Second, synthesis of all relevant concepts from related literatures. That's conceptual. Kasi nga, dami yung binasa. So, pagsasamahin ninyo yung mga important aspects and variables na itetest ninyo. So, ilalagay nyo siya doon. Kasi synthesis, parang conclusion. Ano yung mga bagay na importante na pwede nyong i-measure. While in theoretical, adaptation of existing theory as a whole or part of it. So, there are some researchers na inaga-adapt na lang or ina-adapt yung theory ng ibang researcher, yung previous study, tapos gagamitin din nila sa research nila. And it's okay as long as isa-cite natin siya, but it's up to you if yung adaptation ninyo is full or part only. So pag sinabi nating full, buong concept, buong diagram gagamitin ninyo, or yung part lang na paghahaluin nyo yung theoretical framework ninyo or lalagay nyo pa ng ibang concept ninyo, or yung part na kung malawak yung concept, yung theoretical framework niya, isang part lang which is applicable para sa inyong study. Third, yung conceptual framework is created from different concepts and theories. So, napakalinaw naman yan. While in theoretical framework, nag-evolve na lang to through different literatures. Kasi ni-review siya at saka in-adapt from existing theories. So, yung theory, lalo na yung matatandang mga theories natin from different scientists or researchers, na i-evolve yan. So, kung ano yung applicable, especially in society, kung ano yung applicable during for example, to that generation, nababago siya ng nababago. Okay, for example, yung pyramid of hierarchy ng needs ng isang tao. So, nababago siya at saka nadadagdagan siya. So, parang ganun yung theoretical framework. Fourth, applicable for both quantitative and qualitative. That's for conceptual. So, applicable siya sa mga quanti at saka quali. While in theoretical framework, it's more on quanti. Kasi pag theoretical framework, meron ka mga variables and aspects na kailangan mong i-measure. So, it's more on quantitative. Next, pag conceptual framework, it describes the relationship between specific variables identified in the study. So, if you're going to have your diagram, makikita din yung mga arrows, and please take note, yung mga arrows may mga ibig sabihin yan. So, kung yan ay connecting, yung arrow mo is papunta dito, ibig sabihin, from this side to this side, merong epekto yan. Kung double arrow naman, meron ding epekto yan. Kung single line din yan, may epekto din yan. Okay, so kailangan yung matutunan yan. So, hindi ko na siya may isa-isa, tanong yung teacher nyo. Okay? Second, it also outlines the input, process, and output of the whole investigation. So, makikita nyo doon sa concept. Ulitin natin, pag sinang concept, idea ng researcher, paano tatakbo from the start to the end. Okay? To the end. Okay? Third, it is also called the research paradigm. So, may mga research na mga format na ang tawag dito ay research paradigm. May mga IPO pa, which is for the beginners, or etc. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example ng theory and conceptual. So, unahin natin yung theoretical framework. One of the best, or one of the good theoretical framework or example is this one. Stimulus elicits response. Okay? So, pag kinonvert naman natin siya sa conceptual, new teaching method improves students' academic performance. So, notice in the illustrative example that the theoretical framework basically differs from the conceptual framework in terms of scope. Bakit? Kasi pag theoretical, doon sa example natin, stimulus elicit response, broader yung relationship between things. So, stimulus, elicit, response. So, napaka-broad, napaka-general. While sa conceptual, it's more specific. So let's dig in more. So for example, dun sa theoretical, when stimulus is applied, meron daw response na mangyayari na expected. Ano ba yung inaabangan? O basta expected. Sabi ko sa inyo, mahirap ang Tagalog, English. Okay. Second, dun sa conceptual naman, pag specific tayo, specifies the variables that we'll have to explore in the investigation. So the variable teaching method, ito yung corresponding niya from theoretical na stimulus. Diba? Stimulus, general masyado kasi ang daming uri ng stimulus. But if you're going to have an example for conceptual, that is teaching method, which is very specific. While the students, academic performance, yan naman ang tumutukoy sa response. So kapag daw ang teaching method, okay, yung for example, sa theoretical, kapag daw may stimulus, meron magre-response. Okay? May expected na response. Kapag sa conceptual naman, kapag teaching method, ang epekto nito, ang response nito is yung student's academic performance. Example, kapag maganda or magaling yung teaching method, student's academic performance. Example, ito, kung maayos yung delivery ng vlog ko sa tutorial ng part na to, kayo yung student ko, maintindihan nyo dapat. Pero kung hindi masyado malinaw, hindi nyo maintindihan. And that is stimulus. Okay? Doon sa example natin. So, alam nyo na yung conceptual tsaka theoretical framework, yung difference niya. But, your paper requires you a diagram. So, I'm going to use the 5 steps made by Dr. Filipino. Okay? So, nakuha ko siya sa isa sa mga studies and meron siyang 5 steps na ginawa. So, state, search, review, put together, and create. So, let's discuss each and each. Okay? So, number 1, state the phenomenon of the study. Choose your topic. So, we discussed that already, of course. Second, search for theories, concept, and models which are related to the phenomenon of your topic. So, kung may topic ka na, ngayon magbasa ka. Okay? So, hindi tinatanong ang related literature. Kuya, meron ba kayong related literature? Ganito, hindi. Kailangan mo magbasa kasi ikaw mismo dapat ang first hand na makapagbasa. Malaman mo kung ano mga gusto mong itest at gusto mong mga variables na gamitin sa study mo. Okay? Or sukatin. So, yun yung search. Third, review the search concept, theories and models, and take note the strength and weakness in explaining the phenomenon. So, meron ka na, ang dami mong nakuhang related literature. Now, you're going to, you need to synthesize that or i-review mo alin yung mga applicable para sa study mo. Okay? So, parang kumuha ka ng lahat, tapos select. Okay? So, para doon sa mga kabataan ngayon, aral kayo ngayon, tapos pagdating nyo ng college, select kayo ng anong course ninyo. So, parang ganun sa thesis. Okay? Number 4, put together. So, lahat ng concept, theories, models, etc. na tingin nyo is best para sa study nyo. Ngayon, pagsasama-samahin nyo. Bakit? For number 5. Kasi for number 5, you're going to create a diagram. So example, kita nyo to, may mga arrows and boxes. So, kayo mismo makakalam alin ang una. Tapos, saan, pag tinest nyo itong variable na to, alin ang magiging epekto, so on and so forth. Dito nyo rin ilalagay yung methods ninyo, sining respondents ninyo. For example, sang data ano yung mga resources ninyo at ano yung magiging output ninyo. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo kanina, yung IPO, may mga gumagamit ba rin yan. Input, ano yung mga kailangan ninyong data. Process, paano nyo itetest yung data, paano nyo ipaprocess or paano nyo itetest yung mga variables, and yung output ninyo, anong kalalabasan, anong katuturan ng study ninyo. Okay? And, tapos na pala yun. So, yun. So, yung 5, tapos na pala yun. Yung 5 steps natin is state, search, review, put together, and create. So, that is the difference between conceptual framework and theoretical framework. Okay? So, marami na dito. Basta tanyo, conceptual framework, galing yan sa inyo, sa researchers. Galing yan sa mga RRL. And galing yan sa mga theories na pinag-aralan ninyo. So, kayo ang gagawa niya. Tapos, pag theoretical framework, i-adapt ninyo siya, but either full adaptation or part lang. Kukuha lang kayo ng mga part na applicable sa study ninyo. Okay? So, again, tanong yung teacher ninyo, ano ang required ng format ng university niyo or ng school niyo, kailangan ba pareho o pwedeng isa lang or ano. But advice ko sa inyo is mas maganda pareho para meron kayong for example, pinresan nyo yung concept ninyo, tatanong sa inyo ng panel ninyo, saan galing yung theory na yun. So, nandun na siya. Okay? So, that's it. So, it's 15 minutes na. So, okay na yan. So, I'm going to post this vlog as a raw. So, ito na yun, ha? Hindi ko siya i-edit. Popost ko siya as ganito. Try natin kung ano maging response ng mga viewers natin. So, thank you so much again, and I hope masundan to. So, I think ang next vlog ko is chapter 3. Although medyo huli, pero sana ma-review din yung study ninyo bago ninyo ma-present sa panel ninyo. So, my next is chapter 3, which is methodology, or the IMRaD format is the second part, which is methodology. Tapos, sana magsunod-sunod siya. Okay, thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe on this channel. If bago pa lang kayo dito, welcome again. And please don't forget to hit like and share this. Okay, especially for the students. Share nyo sa mga classmates ninyo. Okay, so yan. Tagalog na ako. So, medyo may mga mahirap na terms na mahirap siya i-Tagalogin, pero kaya natin yan. Okay, so if you have some questions, please comment your questions and I'm going to try to answer it, or message me sa social media na in-attach ko dito. Hey, thank you so much. Sa mga bago dito, meron ako mga tutorials sa mga dating, may mga previous tutorial ako from chapter 1 and 2, and then, yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, and see you again mga tongs. Bye-bye! Kakahingal.